All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to NoCodeConf recap. We did a little bit of a show yesterday. We had a full kind of programmed stream happening yesterday throughout the day, working out some kinks and like this Finsweet TV thing. But we're back for a second day. We're going to do a little bit more live interaction today. So Joe is here. What's up, Joe? We're going to talk all about, NoCodeConf day one. What's up, Joe?
Hey, how's it going? I am excited, and I'm sure everybody else listening is excited. Yesterday was really great. I think it was great all around. It was exceeding my expectations at every turn. So, yeah, I'm pumped. How are you?
I couldn't be more excited. I was just literally about to put up this attributes launch video. Let's take a look at what we kicked off yesterday, and then we're going to get into a bunch of stuff, all the Webflow announcements. We're going to go through all of the different things, but let's take a quick look at this attributes. Okay, so again, just a quick look at the attributes created kind of a buzz, I think, at NoCodeConf, along with all of the announcements. They announced memberships, they announced logic, they announced so much. So let's take a quick sec, Joe. Let's talk a little bit about attributes. And then let's get into all of the NoCodeConf announcements. We're going to spend the next hour before the kickoff, before the live keynote. We're just going to spend some time recapping. If you're watching this, share this with some folks. Share this on Twitter. Join us in our Gather map. Let's see if anybody is in here. Let's jump into the Gather map real quick. There's been people since the conference started yesterday and through the night even hanging out inside of this map. So, Joe, let's talk a little bit about attributes and 15 folks hanging out in the Gather map. So if you're looking for anywhere during the conference to hang out, I'll share this link in the YouTube chat, but you should definitely come and hang out with us. Sorry, go ahead, Joe. Let's talk about attributes.
Attributes launched yesterday. Attributes officially replaces CMS library plus so much more. And Attributes is our new official platform, so we're going all in on it. Go and check it out. It is a new way to filter content on your site, a new way to implement what Finsweet does with tools inside Webflow. And we've seen a really, really positive response. That is so exciting for me. All day yesterday, people were commenting on the YouTube videos. People were sending us messages at Finsweet. I was getting messages, other people were getting messages thanking us for this system. So please go ahead, check it out, look at these YouTube videos after the stream. It's just really going to help you. Put a comment on the YouTube video, on the big announcement YouTube video. If you comment on it, I will respond. I'm going to respond to every single comment all throughout the week. So go ahead. There's a lot of love there, and keep that coming. Thank you, everybody, really.
Yeah, and there was a ton of comments. I'm kind of running through these here. It was like going for days. So if you want to help us, that would be a huge help, actually. Let me click this link too. Let's copy that. And I'll paste this here. Go give that video a little bit of love. Go leave a like on that video, share that with a friend. It explains everything about attributes, right? So it explains the performance, how it replaces the CMS library. It explains how it's better than what we were doing before. Go take a look at those videos and give that some love on YouTube. We would appreciate the heck out of that. Joe, anything else you want to talk about? Attributes, our launch, Finsweet, just vibes about NoCodeConf? Maybe let's just take a second.
A lot of excitement. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement. We're seeing a lot of passion inside Finsweet. A lot of people in the company are just going wild with comments, with congratulating people, with just sharing a really good feeling about what's going on at this conference. And I know it's happening outside of Finsweet too. I'm seeing it all throughout. Everybody in the stage QA, the stage, the chat, all of that. Everybody is just really having a good time, and that's exactly what I'm feeling ever since it started, right from day one.
Yeah. I mean, electric, the, the feeling
The
has been electric.
electricity.
Yeah. The atmosphere has been electric. Let me get my tongue untwisted here. But it's just been, I was interested to see how the conference would play out being fully remote, you know, how they would manage some of that excitement. And I think when you get the kind of product releases and updates that we got yesterday in that kind of production value, in that setting, you can tell how much care they took into like preparing that presentation and kind of putting all that together. You know, it was top notch. You can tell some of those folks were studying the Apple releases. There were just when I saw the CMS performance updates 15 times faster, I was just like thinking those comparison charts with like the CPU charts, the new M1X M1 chips or whatever at Apple. But anyway, let's jump into the good stuff. What people are probably here to talk about, to relish about. Maybe share in the comments. Let's go ahead.
I'd love to take a second to talk about the production quality and what you're talking about looking somewhat similar to Apple. I think they blew us away with the production of this thing. I mean, we were all expecting something. We all had this vision of what it would be, and I think it exceeded everybody's vision of it. The production quality is on point, and just you saying it felt like Apple is huge. This is low, and we're talking about Apple. The type of resources that both of these companies have are very different. So what I think Webflow pulled off from a production standpoint, from having a professional feel to all of this, the keynote was just wonderful. I really need to say that it was really a pleasure to watch that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We're getting some, let's see, what did Caleb said? Definitely the most hype keynote I've ever seen. We're in the middle, if you can't tell, of rebuilding our entire stream graphics and things that we're working on with like the stuff we're going to do with multimedia moving forward. And so we don't have the comments to be able to pull up on screen yet. So just bear with us as we work through that. But Caleb saying, definitely the most hype keynote I've ever seen. Mark Tiernan saying, yeah, actually yesterday I kind of felt as excited as some 14 years ago when Apple dropped the iPhone. I keep telling people Webflow is iOS pre-App Store. Like I keep saying this, I'm going to keep saying this as much as I can. Webflow is literally iOS before they rolled out the App Store. And everybody was talking how BlackBerry was the next biggest thing in enterprise communications. And we all know what happened when the App Store opened. I don't know when Webflow is going to open their App Store, but whenever they open this back end up to developers, it's going to get crazy, which brings us again to the memberships and logic. Let's get into actually real quick before we do that, let me say what's up to everyone in the comments. We got Mark Tiedman's in the house, Matt Conley, what's up? All stoked after day one, good to be back to see what happens today. Agreed. Caleb Rainey, what's up? Christopher Coleman, Alan Connor, Michael Collins, Magdalena, what's up? Armando, Darren, Rohan, Paul, Redone, Julie's up here. What's up? What's up? What's up? Paul Ratchford, Joseph Bates. Yeah, say what's up in the comments. Let us know what your favorite takeaway was. But Joe, let's talk about memberships and logic. We knew memberships was coming. We did not expect logic. Talk about it.
That was a big announcement. Seeing the membership inside the UI looked great. They had a lot of baseline features that you would want and expect from membership, like the groups, like being able to actually select a user almost like a CMS item. It was really impressive. You know, I had this picture of what it could look like, and it looked better. Again, another one of this exceeding my expectations, which I always love. So yeah, I think a big win on the memberships.
I think at one point you even said that you didn't think we would get like a visual parabola style like tree, logic tree. And so
Oh yeah, I
and
did
and
say that.
and I thought, hey, you're right, right? In the designer, it's going to be
Yeah.
something more like a styles panel, right? That's going to pop over and it's going to be just a sequential logic, almost like interactions are. But it turned out to be so
Yeah.
much more than that. It's like this beautiful, again, visual logic interface where you can kind of draw trees out. And we didn't get full functionality or full access or, anything to look at it in any depth, but it did look cool. It looked like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, everything you might dream of in a visual logic interface. So I'm really excited to see what you can do with that. I think it will be fairly limited, but I'm excited to see like what they showed even yesterday, allowing to map forms to CMS items or to send to a different person or maybe have approval processes and then map that with some of the permissions and user roles that they talked about. That seems like a big
Hmm.
deal. And then the memberships, allowing users to add native databases and no longer having to worry about creating a member stack user page that sends something with Zapier and then grabs with Airtable and it references this and then
Hmm.
you have to create a, I don't know, like it's kind of, it's kind of like a chore to get a proper user thing. And as useful as that's been up until now, I think we're even seeing that in the comment here. Who said that? Membership is going to be really big. Somebody asked, wondering what member stack, Max Morris, wondering what member stack will do. Joe, any thoughts on
Mm.
what some of these membership platforms are going to do here and as part of this process?
Well, like you said, Webflow is going to release this membership, but there is a chance that there is some limited functionality. You're not going to be able to do everything. That's just a fact of any platform. Everything is not possible. Only certain things are possible. So who knows? There still may be a place for someone like a member stack to integrate with Webflow's native users. We don't know. We don't know what type of access they give us to this. Webflow can release limited features to something, but we've seen that the community will figure out very creative ways to use what's available. So we're going to make something work. Member Stack may go and transition somewhere else. They may say, "Hey, let's go deeper into Webflow and try to work with what Webflow is working with." I don't know. It really depends what this beta looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of, I mean, everybody wants things to be baked into the cake, but you also want
Mm,
functionality that allows extensibility and allows you to kind of build
yeah.
out on those features. And I wonder if early on some of that will be limited. So it will be interesting to see again what we actually get as part of this memberships beta. Like, what does that actually mean? Some people are getting access to it. So if you're one of the folks who have gotten access to it, if you're in the comments right now and you've gotten a chance to play with it, maybe since last night, I know some folks got emails letting them into the beta. So if you've played with it, if you've touched it, let us know what you see, what you think, what you're just kind of discovering as you explore this. And let us know what you're thinking about building. Let's see. I'm more hyped for the logic so I can actually do some SaaS marketplace projects from start to finish as a designer, Webflow dev, instead of giving the development to other parties. Yeah. I mean, I think job boards, communities, marketplaces, all of the things that we love about no code, all the stuff that we're doing here. Like, I'm excited. We're talking about launching a new portal for our community efforts. We would love for all that to be
Mhm.
native in Webflow, to be able to give
Oh
folks
yeah.
control, to give them access to the calendar tools we're building, to whatever it is inside of one place. That would be fantastic. And so let's see. Just a couple weeks ago, you kindly recommended I check out Wiz to give support online veteran directory. Given Webflow announcement of Logic and memberships, would you suggest I wait for this? Joe, that's a good question.
I responded to this in text, but I'll repeat it here. Alan, it depends if you're willing to wait here. We don't know when we'll be able to use Logic for a production site.
Mm,
We don't know exactly when the beta will open. We don't know what access that beta is. So if you're willing to wait, if you say, hey, I can wait 3 months or 6 months or a year, then you can wait. If you want to do it now, I would not suggest to wait for that because we just don't know.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. Bold text seems to be the running joke. So Christopher Coleman saying here, I'm most excited for bold text. honestly. So Michael Collins, love bold text. Yeah, it's funny. Wes, what's up? Long time no talk, Finsweet team. Hello and welcome back, Wes. Thanks for joining us today. Andre saying, looking to create a dashboard for my clients to look at analytics and whatnot. Memberships will be great for that. Yeah,
Nice.
100%. And yeah, everything that's happening in the no code world is just super exciting. What Airtable just announced with interfaces, what Webflow's announcing here with Logic and memberships. Glide is doing all sorts of cool stuff. They've opened a web builder now that you can attach to your mobile apps. And somebody told me yesterday they're playing with some AI that, like, if you want to build a restaurant app, you just tell it the restaurant app and what fields you want, and it auto generates the app for you. So things are really accelerating in this space. And I know we talked a lot about, like, over the last couple of years, we've been a little disappointed with Webflow, right? We got kind of excited about every time we'd log into the designer and you see the little notification of a new feature, and how that had stopped a little bit. But with these announcements, I think they make up for a lot of that. And it kind of validates our
Yeah.
ideas that we were saying they're working on some big stuff. They're working on refactoring a lot of things here. They're building the base to take the next step up. And so I think we really saw that yesterday with some of these announcements, what they're looking to do, Joe. So
I think a huge confident booster for the community as a whole. Anybody that may have had some doubts about how Webflow is releasing features, I think those doubts are now gone after yesterday's keynote.
mm,
These types of announcements are game changing to a lot of people's freelance career, agency career. Being able to offer these feature sets natively inside the same platform under the same billing structure is just next level for so many people.
yeah.
So yeah, I think a huge community boost in confidence all the way with yesterday.
Well, and take this one step further and now think about, again, the clonable infrastructure of Webflow
Mm.
websites, and the idea that you could now build logic, build fully functioning applications, user dashboards, membership sites, whatever, and allow that to be cloned. Are you kidding me? Right? So we're talking about businesses in a box. Forget about a template marketplace or a theme in WordPress that allows you to style a site, or some just basic template that you set up. Like, we're talking about software that's going to be able to just, with one click, clone it, fire it up, you're ready to go. Authentication is there, the business logic is there. Just come in and connect whatever else you want around the edges and run with it. So this is exciting for the world of no code, but the world of tech in general, and for the world of just online
Yeah.
creators. The whole maker space, the whole online maker space is really taking a step up with some of this stuff.
And you know what I think we're going to see with this logic? I think we're going to see more strategic consultants in the
Mm,
design field. Think about this. We have this new logic feature. We saw that you can now make business decisions inside Webflow. So people who are now designing, they now understand how to develop through Webflow. Now we have this logic, and now you can say, I know how to get people to respond to this email. I
mm,
know the series that we have to do to help you get good leads or put leads in the right direction. This is powerful. Even with a simple feature set on Logic, you can now become a strategic consultant through this new feature set.
yeah.
That's pretty powerful. That's a new line item on the invoice, and you're still using no code. It's really powerful. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. It's super exciting, all of this. Just to
Yeah.
think about the potential again, I think that's the biggest impact from this as a takeaway is that we're just gonna get a lot of new features and a lot of potential for earning, for freelancers, for the maker economy, for all of it. Like, this is all a big boon for the maker economy, for online creators. Let's look at some of these comments here. Redone, I'm more hyped for the logic so I can actually do some SaaS marketplace projects from start to finish. Oh, yeah, we read that one. Alan Connor, Joe, a couple of
Mhm.
weeks ago, you kindly recommended. We did that one too. Um, let's see, Andres, looking to create a dashboard for my clients. Look at analytics. Great. Yeah, Paul, honestly, I'm trying to keep with so many releases at one time. It's tough. Still working on client first, on production flow. Yeah. Don't don't get too worried about that stuff. Like there's plenty of time here. I know it can be overwhelming in the rush of seeing everything, but take some time to go through the reviews, rewatch the keynote, rewatch the attributes video, rewatch some of this content, and like just take some time to take it all in there.
Yeah.
Let's see, Christopher Coleman. I have a live site right now that's 90% Webflow, 10% WordPress because of no memberships. Hoping it can get into the beta to make the full swap. Yeah, that's exactly the use case I'm sure they're looking for to present out there. Rohan, I
Yes.
wonder if the 10K limit would be lifted now that CMS is faster. Logic enables user to add data to CMS when you'll hit that 10K limit real quick. That was one thing I was surprised they did not address. Joe, any thoughts
Yeah.
about that? That's like a big point of contention in the community, is the limitations around the amount of data in the system. And I agree with what Rohan's saying here that, hey, if you start adding memberships and users and all this other stuff, that's just going to multiply potentially exponentially the amount of data inside of the system, which means you're going to hit that 10,000 item cap a lot sooner. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that one, I was also hoping to hear something about that yesterday. That's definitely part of a much bigger project. I don't see that that's part of the same efforts of Logic. This is rebuilding the back end, the database infrastructure of these Webflow projects. It is a big thing, and it seems that that's not going to be lifted in the near future. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly how this is going to work with memberships. I think it still covers a lot of use cases. Uh, I mean, 10,000 is a limit, but there are a lot of use cases where you're not going to come close to that. It could be a small business type directory, it could be some restaurant ordering app. Who knows? We don't know exactly how it's going to work into that 10K limit, but I do think it's good enough for a lot of use cases.
Yeah, Jacob saying having a 10K limit sounds counterintuitive when implementing. Users feel like it will change 100%. I agree with that. And part of what, but they
Mhm.
didn't mention it specifically, which I think means it's not addressed in this current iteration, right? Like that would be my
Right.
takeaway. I think
Yes.
that they probably would have said something very specifically about that. I think they hinted to it when they talked about re-architecting the data structure, re-architecting this, that, the other. I think those are kind of key takeaways that we can say, okay, they're looking and figuring out how to make the data more performant. But I don't know that that limitation is going to be immediately removed. So, yeah, let's see. They didn't mention form fields binding. Um, Yeah, I guess, but they did set something about like creating new CMS items from forms, which I took to mean that that data could be sent back into the CMS. Um, Hopefully I'm right about that. I don't know. So, Redone, I just hope the new features won't come at a spicy premium over the current options, just like the e-commerce in Webflow is
Mm,
more expensive than Shopify, for example. Yes. What do
yeah.
these announcements mean for pricing in Webflow? That's a big question in everyone's mind. Joe, any thoughts on that?
We don't know. It is very possible that there is a cost on top of this. Let's say for the logic piece. But think about it. This could make a huge impact in a business. So let's say it's $40 extra per month just for the logic, right? A lot of people may immediately think that's just too much for me. I can't pay $60 per month or ask my client to pay $60 per month. If what this logic can do can help send things back into the CMS, help send the right emails to the right people, help route different flows of leads, this could be much bigger than a $60 per month cost. This could be a very big change for a business. So yeah, it may come at an extra cost, but remember, you're now getting the power to do something that can really significantly offset that cost big time.
Yeah.
That's how I like to think about it.
Yeah, for sure. And I still think Webflow's pricing is super reasonable. I do think that
It
e-commerce was a
is.
little expensive for the functionality.
It
I
is
have
too. Yeah,
been
I
kind
agree
of
with that.
like I've been on that since the beginning. I think Webflow e-commerce is cool. I don't think it's fully baked cake yet. And so I think they went like Shopify pricing without Shopify features. But I also know that it's hard to increase pricing as you increase nominal feature load. So it's hard. I could see where they wanted to set the benchmark for the price and then work their way up into that price rather than slowly bumping that price every time they made a new feature update and having to worry about, like, do we grandfather the old folks in? Do we just keep bumping the price? And then it feels like they're nickel and diming folks. And so from a strategic standpoint, I could see why they did it that way. Although I don't think it has the functionality to match Shopify pricing just yet. The membership stuff could be a similar approach, right? They may drop a certain thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they also have like some free plans that take a percentage of your subscriptions or something like that. They take 1% of the cut or something. I don't know. I don't necessarily like those business models, but it's very common in this type of, product offering. So we could see something like that, and I wouldn't be super surprised by it. Let's see. Elchin is asking here, did you guys at Finsweet actually check out a faster CMS, or I misunderstood that? Joe, we did get an upgraded access to one of our sites with a big CMS, right? So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep. We had 2 or 3 projects that we were working on. One a client project, 2 internal projects. Fairly large CMS, multi-thousand CMS projects. And they were running a bit slow. As CMS items grow in your project, every move that you make in Designer can get slower. So we were granted a beta for these projects, and the performance was much better. There was no long delay when you click something and you have to wait for Webflow to react to that. Everything felt a lot quicker, and it's the way that they read and access the CMS items in the project. Instead of reading and accessing all of the items, they're only reading and accessing the ones that they need for what you're doing. So it was a big improvement, and that's what was announced at the keynote. We had a quote in there. I said that last week that we were working on this 3,000 item project, and it felt more like a 100 item project where we were able to really use Designer the way that it was intended.
Yeah, I agree. It's it has been, there's moments where you
Nice
get a little
improvement.
laggy in Webflow, and
Yeah.
the designer experience gets a little slow. We did hear S articles that are tied to another collection type if you're on a specific page, and so there are going to be some trade-offs here, depending on how you use the Webflow designer itself. It looks like we're getting oh dang. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a frame drop here. Let me check something real quick. Joe, can you take it here for a second? Give me 1 second here. Go ahead.
Sure, absolutely. We have a question from Alan. 15x faster just on Designer, nothing on published site. From my understanding, this performance upgrade, the more intelligent loading of CMS items, is for Designer. It is not something for the published site. Let's see. We have Julie. The conversation about no code versus code will seem antiquated soon. It's starting to become a newer, smarter conversation. Julie, that is totally correct. I remember coming into this space, and pretty much any video that you found about no code, there was a list of developer trolls saying how terrible no code was. Do you remember that, Reimar? Right? There was just like so many technical developers that really did not like no code, and it was just on every.
Okay, let's see if it reconnects. All right, checking. Okay, it looks like it has reconnected here.
Oh, great.
Oh, I have no idea what's going on there. I think we just had like a network drop here, so hopefully that will stay
Okay,
stable
we're back.
for the next. Yeah.
People are reporting that we're back. All
There's
right.
just no getting away from
But
the
no one's
booby
here
traps and
anymore.
streaming. It's like, I know. Don't worry, we'll get him back up there. God bless
All
it. I
right.
have no idea, again, why that happens other than like a network spike in the building here or something like that. But okay, it's showing back. Everything's looking good. Apologize for the issues there. We were talking about CMS stuff. So let's go back and see. Let's take this point from Alan here. Many devs don't like no code. It was so hard to imagine something like Parabola, Airtable, Glide would exist today. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Still, you talk
Absolutely.
to devs and they will tell you nay on the no code world. They're like, that's for kids. That's for the kids. It's just the toy. It's a whatever. That's the same shit they used to say going back to iOS versus BlackBerry. The same thing they used to say about the iPhone. All these
Yeah.
enterprise, like suit and tie, buttoned up folks were on their Blackberries. I had a Blackberry and I loved it. And we were like, and then it was just like, that's just a toy. We work over here, you play over there. And that's exactly the same mindset people used to have. And so dismiss this at your own peril in the world of tech. If you're watching this no code world evolve and you think this is just a game, then you're not really paying attention. Let's see, Rohan. Similarly, we pay Zapier for Logic. If Webflow now offers something similar, they can charge higher as well. That I agree with. I could see the
Yeah.
pricing on that being based on the amount of logic or what. I don't know. But Bubble doesn't do that. How does Bubble charge? Like, that'd be interesting to see. I don't know enough about how Bubble charge. Is Bubble charge based on like a number of scripts that are run, or based on the number of logic flows that you
Hmm.
have set up? Or, I don't know. Maybe somebody in the comments can answer that. I'm sure they're looking at all that. I'm sure they're looking at how all of these other companies are set up, what they're trying to do, and how that plays into like how they structure their pricing at Webflow. So
We have a comment from Jacob. I work directly with developers and they love Webflow. They can focus on building React components and Webflow can handle everything else. Absolutely. I think once a lot of developers actually experience it and see it, they say, oh, okay, all of my doubts have now been fixed. This is what we see a lot working with companies. We work with companies, they have a technical team, and they grow to like Webflow. And that goes back to Julie's comment about the conversation changing. That wasn't happening 3 years ago, 4 years ago, definitely not happening 5 and 6 years ago. So it's happening now. The conversation of what no code is and how it relates to people that do code is absolutely changing. Big yes.
yeah. Let's see. Any other comments there, Joe?
I don't.
Bubble charge is
Oh,
based on compute.
compute. Okay.
Yeah. So
I
based
don't
on
think
maybe how
Webflow is
many.
going to do that.
Yeah.
I think they
Uh,
may have maybe packages of that, but it won't be a pure on compute format.
Well, it'll be really hard for them to do that because I could see them getting like
Yeah.
where they add the logic and then they add the e-commerce and they add this, and it's going to be one of those things where like, do you have to pay separately for each, or are they going to have like Mac Daddy accounts where like you can pay and get some of all of that? And I would imagine that would
Mhm.
simplify things. One of the biggest complaints about Webflow right now is their pricing is confusing and they have team plans and account plans. And that's one of the things that they're talking about kind of addressing as part of this new update and moving forward. So I would imagine they would lean towards less complexity when it comes to pricing and feature packages, and kind of put all of their features and offerings under one umbrella rather than having them all kind of piecemeal together. So again, I don't know. I don't have any real insights into that. It would seem like that's how they might take it. Joe, any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. This is all speculation, but yeah, I think there is going to be some change in the pricing, even from what currently is being priced, because now they just pretty much doubled what they can charge for and how this can be structured. The feature set, yeah. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. There's no point in guessing too much.
Well, to say what you to counter what you said there a little bit, they have doubled what I think they can charge for, but they still have to look at a comparative market, and they still have to be competitive to all these other features. And I really think that, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see where the money comes in on all this and at what price point all of this starts. I was interested to see the account plans and team plans combining into workspaces, allowing you
Mm,
to maybe add people to your workspace, maybe more like a ClickUp does, or Notion even, where you can have different workspaces and then have different people with access to those. Also, the other thing that I was interested in, I think, was seeing the billing and publishing permissions, site control, site
mhm.
admin control. Just more little nuanced controls. One of the things that came up in a conversation in our hangout during the Gather Hangouts was like the fear that comes on when you add somebody to your site. Joe knows this all too well. And you bring someone onto the team and you give them Webflow access. You give them keys to the entire castle. You've got your site in there. We've got all the ancillary properties in there. You've got all the client sites. You've got all the stuff you may be working on into the future, which means like all your IP is kind of sitting there, and that's just open to anyone you have to give access to in Webflow. So that's a big deal in my mind, Joe. What do you think about that?
Huge deal. I think it's going to be a big deal for agencies that are growing, like us, being able to limit that access, being able to feel much more confident in growing your team and the permissions around that. So, big win for agencies. I think it's also going to let more companies come in and use Webflow. We do get some companies that are very displeased with the current permission set, basically on or off. You can tell someone that they can't delete a project, but that's it. They have access, they can do anything they want. And for larger companies to hear this, it's very concerning, very concerning. So to hear this kind of update, I think there's going to be more confidence in these larger companies coming into the ecosystem. That is a big win for everybody, agencies on both sides, internally and externally.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just good practice in general, right? To be able to give different people permission to like upload a blog article, but maybe not publish the whole site. Maybe be able to publish a blog article, but not publish, the whole thing. And some of that happens in editor, but it's just kind of limited. So, yeah, it's good to see advancements in that being made. What's up, Bailey? Bailey Simrell in the house. This is a huge one. Drove me nuts for years. Yeah, Bailey, 100%. Big shout out to Bailey. We met actually in San Francisco at the last NoCodeConf. So it's cool to see folks from the community bouncing in and out here. Let's see. While others working on code-related issues, we working on the other stuff now. Julie is saying, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. Let's see. Oh, and the other thing was the new controls in the designer. Let's talk about that real quick before we go out here, because I guess we got 20 minutes before the keynote starts. But new blend feature, new blend properties, CSS blend properties, and background filters properties available native inside the designer. I can't wait to see what some of y'all create with that. Joe, do you want to talk a little bit about those links? Do we have those links real quick that we can bring up on the stream here? Like those examples, those blend mode examples?
To be honest, I don't know if we can share those.
Oh,
We may
right.
be able to, but we need to ask. We need to ask permission
Yeah.
before we actually share those visually.
Do you want to
We can
explain
do that
why or
maybe
what?
tomorrow. I
Yeah,
would
what
love
those
to,
were?
yeah. Sure. So Webflow reached out to a few select partners in the experts program to create examples using the new CSS features. We have backdrop filter and we have the mix blend mode. These are really cool. These integrate with Webflow interactions. So to be able to put these CSS properties into Webflow interactions, it opens up a whole new possibility of effects, of visuals. So we were tasked to create some different creative views into these effects. So we built these for Webflow. You'll see in the keynote, there were a couple of examples shown. We were the first example, and we saw a really cool effect of a photo coming together using
Mm,
these new properties. Really, really cool. We're going to share this with you. I don't know if Webflow is the one to share it or we're the one to share it, but this will be available for you to see. We really took it to the next level, and I know the community is going to do that same exact thing.
yeah. Yeah. Um, let's see. Alan is saying the website says plans are free, even CMS until the project is ready. Does that mean we'll get CMS plans free for development? I'm not sure what they're doing on that. We don't know anything about how they're
Mhm.
working on that. My best advice to you or anybody in that situation is get a team account, or not a team account, get a pro account, at least for now. It's like $40 a month, something like that, but it allows you to build as many projects as you want, and you don't have to worry about that. You can add up to 50, I think, CMS items per project, which is usually enough to build out whatever framework you need before taking the next step or paying for publishing. So let's see, there was another one. Alan, I'd love if Webflow paid some attention to editor experience for clients. The publishing model is terrible, only being able to publish the entire site. I would imagine this will have some of that in it. I would imagine some of what we're talking about here with the Teams account. I would imagine that some of that will account for those publishing nuances.
Yeah, and we have an interesting comment from Bailey after this, and it's where is it? Totally agreed, Alan, but I think the editor will slowly be deprecated for a different permissioned experience inside Designer. I could be wrong though. Bailey, I have a similar feeling. They did a little preview of those comments. They did a preview of a new permission system, and I think it's pretty clear that editor feels a bit separated from Designer. The way you log in is different, the way you access it is different, the color of the UI is different. To film a client walkthrough, you have to go into this experience that you are not really familiar with instead of just filming it right in Designer. So maybe we see this. I don't know if editor is going to be deprecated, but I do think that with this restructuring, with more of a Teams model, the way that some of your clients edit their site and communicate on the site will change. So maybe this is a speculation, but I could see that happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually like disagree a little bit. I think
Okay.
I don't think they get rid of the editor experience for one specific reason. You you want to be able to give clients access or non-technical folks access outside of the editor or Webflow experience. I think people really like the idea of going to the website natively, clicking on the screen and making text edits in line without having to worry about other sidebars and am I in preview mode? Am I, like am I doing anything else here that I shouldn't be? Nope. I just kind of want to go to the front end. I want to highlight some text and update that. I want to update a picture. So I think it. I don't know. This is again pure speculation
I
here, but
I think you're assuming that the UI will be the same for all permission levels. I would assume that if somebody has a full access permission level, they're going to see the full UI in Designer. If someone
mm,
has an edit only, I'm sure they're not going to see a styles panel. I'm sure they're not going to see the attributes panel. It's going to be a different experience inside Designer based on your permission. I mean, you could have a view only permission, maybe, let's say, hypothetically, and you really can just view in Designer. So again, speculation, but I see what you're saying. That editor is it's a beautiful thing that it is separated because sometimes you don't want clients to be that close to the site. You don't even want them to be in the same environment. But we'll see.
yeah, I agree. And then we're getting,
Yeah.
let's see, we're getting reports that NoCodeConf is starting here. So let's jump in and
Okay.
see enter event. Yeah, we don't want y'all missing anything. Plus, this is probably more.
Nice.
Oh, let's see what they're doing. They may just be like a little intro startup here. Oh, look at Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
Kyle.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the conference is getting started here. Go ahead and head over. I think we'll wrap up the stream at this point. We got a good hour or so in here. Joe, any final thoughts before we jump off and head into the conference here?
Yeah. See you after the keynote for my speech. Please come down. We'll all be there. We'll be chatting. So see you soon. Enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I'll reiterate at the top of the live chat here, we have our gather space. Let's pop in over there and see. Yeah, we've got about 20 folks hanging inside a gather. So if you're looking for a place to hang out at all during the conference, this is it. We got you hooked up. You can jump in here and explore with anyone. And actually, I want to do one thing real quick. If anybody's here still in it, I want to show you a little tease of this no code village we're building. And so if you're interested in hanging out with us, building community, getting to be a part of this community, we're building kind of a shared workspace. And so I'll end it with just a little plug on that. But it'd be cool to have, people joining and hanging out. But if you want to come and just chat with other folks who are networking as part of NoCodeConf, you can see they're in there having all sorts of conversations. Super cool. So anyway, we'll send you off to the conference. And let's see, where is that tab? I don't know where it is. There it is. Okay, we'll send you off. Take care. All right. Bye.